Hello. Um, Welcome to episode 2 of The Grit. I put out episode 1. I didn't share it with anyone, so it's kind of just sitting there in the ether as expected. No one's really come across it, but that's because I haven't really shared it across any of my platforms at the moment. So hopefully in the next couple of days I can do that and I can start getting some feedback. So title of the podcast should probably give away what we're going to talk about. Like episode 1, I kind of talk about building a world and how important it is to have like a rounded personality and have things going on in your life. But episode 2 is going to be focused on, why you're here, the girls, the women. Obviously, the reason why I came across this profile and podcast in the first place is because you're curious about that, whether you are a woman yourself and you're just have a look to what guys are saying, or if you're a guy and you're struggling with women and you want to get some tips on what to do, and if you're also just a guy who's probably a bit more proficient and just listening to what other guys are doing out there, seeing how they're going. All right, anyway, so chances are you read my post on Reddit, which I can't actually remember what the title was, but like just to sum it up, it was I slept with 56 women in a year, and this is how I did it. This is what I learned. It was an interesting time of my life. 56 is a lot. That's the thing. It's a lot for some people. Like for some people, it's like more than a lifetime's worth. And they can possibly imagine being anywhere near that number. And then you've got other guys probably on the other end of the scale who will be like, okay, maybe that's just like a bad year. So for me, it's so I don't want to call it a good year. It's kind of weird thing to say, because especially now in my mindset, I'm like, okay, that's not really what I'm aiming for. Like numbers is not really like a thing. But like even when I was kind of doing it, like going through the year, I wasn't really counting. I was just living my life, and then towards the end of that period, I was like, I wonder how many. And then tot it all up, and I was like, holy crap, that's a lot. I realized it was over like 1 a week, and I was like, oh my god, that's worrying. Yeah, it's very. Yeah, well, it's an interesting time. I got a lot of attention. I got a lot of people doubting it for some reason. Like, why I'd make that up? Like, I don't know why I'd make that up. But then a lot of people ask me like how I did it. Like, I'm just gonna go, oh yeah, you just turn up, and what you didn't do was do the super cool backflip as you walked in the bar. That's where you went wrong. No, how I did it was kind of essentially what I was talking about last podcast. Is I got a whole bunch of core principles. I stick to those, and it makes me a more attractive person. So, that's kind of what it is. And then also on that, if you've also read my profile, I've never put this like onto like a subreddit or anything. I've also now slept with women from 45 different countries. Now that for me is a bit more interesting because 45 countries is a lot. It means I've met a lot of women from all over the world, had a lot of interaction with them. I kind of always speak to them kind of the same way, like, not the same way, I mean, ask similar questions about like dating stuff. Sorry about that. Similar questions about what's going on. So that's why. Well, that's not why I do it. I do it because it's fun. But that's kind of what's come out of it. So next point I want to bring out is just a few stories. So like, what you guys want to be wondering is like, what are the good stuff? So like on my actual blog, I never really wrote down any stories in particular about what's happened. And due to anonymity as well, at this point I'm anonymous, but I assume at some point in the future I won't be. Some of these stories, I'm actually not going to change anything. I'm just going to leave the names out. It's easier. All right. So, like, I guess the way to go through this is, where did I begin? Like, I began my journey into this world when I was actually quite young. I was a teenager. Since a long time ago, I read Neil Strauss's The Game, cover to back cover pretty quickly, and believe me, I've not read that many books in my life, so the fact that I read that probably tells you a lot about what I thought about it. I loved it. It was, this, if you've never read it, like, it's Neil Strauss. He becomes this pickup artist. He learns all these lines from this dude in Mystery, and it's just about their story or Neil's story about how he goes from this, like, essentially what you'd call like a dweeb and into a PUA or PUA, pickup artist, which I certainly am not, but I'm just a normal guy. But this world was definitely appealing to me at that point in my life, because I was like, oh my god, probably when I started reading that, I was probably 15, 16 or something. Can't really remember, but I had not slept with many girls at that point. I think I had lost my virginity around that point. Maybe I had slept with 2 girls, or probably about 2. So it wasn't like I was rolling in it. I remember thinking, right, I really want to like nail this. And then after that, I kind of gone on to. Oh no, I remember doing like stupid stuff from that book, like on girls at school, like the Cube and stuff that just didn't work. Like, I think I want to say that now. Like, I don't think lines and routines and all that kind of stuff, especially like sort of Mystery does, like peacocking. Does it work? Maybe you might get some success from it, but long term, it's just weird because that a bunch of lines can't be a personality, and dressing up like a freaky little man is that guy's huge actually in Mystery. He's wearing like huge boots. It's just it wasn't me. Like, I'm not gonna sit here and say because I think that is the key thing which I kind of hark on about, is build your own journey, and that's what Mystery did. He built something that was congruent to his personality, and then tried to package that, which was this magician dude who was going around using magic tricks to seduce women and dress like a really extravagant guy. And then for an average dude like me, doing that it's been so weird, because I think crap about magic. I don't really dress weird at all. I like dressing like quite a classic look. So that direction wasn't going to work. And if someone's telling you, this is the only way you can do it, it's like, well, it's obviously not the only way, because there's a bunch of other guys out there who aren't doing that, and they're doing just fine. Anyway, I was 18, didn't know what I was doing. Then I joined my first online forum, and that's kind of where things actually started getting a bit more interesting for me. So I joined it was a SoSwap forum, which I actually still have my account on there. Like, I don't post on there anymore, but I have my account. I can still sign into it, so I've looked back at it over the years and been like, oh, okay. I go back and just look at it occasionally, like, oh, this is where you started, here's where you are now, and it's like, well, that kid was a bit of a bit wet behind the ears. It really knew what he was doing. I actually had a blog thread. So like, you'd have like blog posts, and you'd regularly update them with like your adventures, and you had your little group of friends that always commented on your blog post. It was kind of weird actually, and I was doing that, and I remember on my first one I said the things I wanted to achieve. So what I actually did was I quickly paused and I went to have a look at what I actually wrote. So I wrote this in 2013 actually. So I was actually in my mid-20s when I wrote that. Actually, no, that's not true. Oh, sorry, I wasn't. As in terms of how many women I slept with at that point. Okay, around 24 in 2013, and I remember thinking like, oh, I don't remember really even slept with at that point. It's weird. And then what did I want to do? What I said on that, I wanted to sleep with hundreds of women. Yes, it's an ego thing. I wanted to have a threesome. I wanted to sleep with someone twice my age, someone really filthy. I didn't put them there, but I knew I want to fake it. I've done all these things. It's great. Yeah, like I'm loving it. Yeah. So things here's like the interesting thing. I put things I love, things I hate. Like it's weird because I've always had the same type when it comes to girls. Like I know exactly what I like. Once I see her, I'm like, oh, bum. I'm like, especially if I'm like a bar, I'm like, I'll see the girl. I'm like the avatar of her. Do you know what I mean? It's like the general look of her. I'm like, oh, here we go. I wanted to enjoy my beer for a bit and chat with my mates, but look at this fucking leggy brunette over there has turned up, and I'm gonna have to go introduce myself. Have to go, like that kind of thing. So sirens again. Sounds like I live in a ghetto. But there's a little bit on this post that talks about the things I really need to work on. Well, I put consistency in all areas. Consistency. I realize now, like, dating with women, like, there's no such thing as consistency. Like, obviously when I went through that year of shagging 56 girls, I was consistently shagging, but it was, there were ups and downs in that year, the roundabouts, there were, questions, there were periods of more abundance and periods of where I was like, I might go a whole month. I think I went, did I go a month? Probably not a month, but like just a couple of weeks without really getting anything new, and then be times where, but like, I think 1 week I slept with 7 different girls in a week, and I think 5 of them were new girls or something like that. Some I think it was longer than that. The run, it was crazy. So things I really need to work on. Following up numbers. My text game is pretty shocking. Well, newsflash, if I was talking to this guy now, I'd say don't worry about your text game. I'd still say pretty shocking. Leave it for logistics. Like, I'm not the kind of guy who's going to sit there and banter with a girl over text for 3 days before we go on a date, Leave it, get a number, logistics, meet up and, make an impression in real life. That's what it's all about. All right. Another thing I say is opening stronger in clubs. I think I've nailed that now. I don't know when I nailed it. It was more recently than I thought. Than you think. Opening clubs is hard because you're in a place where like the women are. I suppose it depends on the venue, but there's only a certain number of women you probably want to talk to in that. Like for me, when I go in there, I always say like there's probably like 5 girls I really want to talk to in there, and then after that it's like we'll see how it goes. And so approaching those 5 girls that you like is ballsy and hard, but yeah, I've definitely got good at that, and it's shown and paid off. Getting out and practicing more often. Yeah, I've done that. Yeah, I've practiced. I've kind of, if I said to this guy, oh, guess what you do? Well, what you've done recently. It's like, wow, that would be crazy. Another thing is getting in the gym. Now, this is something which I clearly wasn't going to the gym at this point. And I obviously went to the gym. Yeah, it really helps. Like, just, I actually had like a period recently where I didn't go to the gym for about 2 years. Like, I looked still like I'm in good shape. Like, I naturally just had really good shape. People always thought I was going to the gym. So there's a couple of girls I've been seeing, and I've gone back to the gym, and they've gone, whoa, okay, I see the difference. Like, I'm like, I put muscle very easily, don't put a lot of fat. Like, I know it sounds like, oh, look how easy it is for me. Well, it's what it is. And they've really noticed a difference. To be honest, and I don't think actually, funny enough, I've not been out and not been out flirting and putting anything. Probably for like at least a month now, so I haven't had anything new. I'm actually going on 2 first dates this week for the first time in a long time. What feels like, because I'm actually thinking like, well, where am I even going to go? Because at the moment I'm just sort of seeing. I have to look for my phone book. I think I've got like 4 girls going, and I've been working on some other things at the moment. I'm trying to really up my financial game, so to speak. So I'm just kind of keeping those 4 girls around. They're cool, and really what I call it non-intrusive on my life. I don't have to message them every day. Message them all that boring. Like, I can't deal with that. Like, where are you? What are you doing? If I don't reply for like a day and a half, chill. It's nothing personal, kind of thing. Another thing is not resting on my laurels. Have I done that? Yeah, I'd say I've not rested on my laurels. Done that very well. And I've really pushed and tried to innovate. Try to get to a point where I can I'll get to a point where like I can not just make a difference in my life, but start to have some impact in other guys' lives as well. Like, it's hard out there. Like, I didn't always have it easy, and it's still not easy. It's still, I want to clarify this. This is really hard sometimes. Like, this night's right. When I do go out, like, you just get rejected. Like, it's not your night. Wrong energy, and you come in, forget it. So, wrong energy, and sometimes it's like, you might as well just go, just enjoy your night and chill, but yeah, you're not pulling. And sometimes you do. It's really weird. The last thing, there's 2 more things. One, stop getting involved in as much drama. I co-sign the hell out of this, because whatever this dude thought when he was that young, he was right. Do not be getting involved in drama. It's a waste of time. It's hot. It takes your energy, and eventually it will ruin you, because the people you get involved with, they don't care. Like, when you roll in the mud with the pigs, you catch. That's not it. Just saying. No. Whatever saying is, you end up getting dirty, and just it's not worth it. And the last thing I put in here is learn how to follow up on dead numbers. Not worth it. There's billions of women out there. Why are you trying to follow up on dead numbers? Look, maybe you can just drop a little Hail Mary, send it and forget it, but that's as much as effort I put into that. Like, no point. Move on. Just loads of women out there who will like you. Okay, so what did I want to talk about next? Okay. Okay, so reading through this. Okay, this is interesting. So I was writing posts and then going like, and then I writing, doing what I learned and stuff like that. So I think I might actually one day just do like a Socialite forum talk through of my learnings, because it'd be a lot easier than me just going through this now, because it's not really what I want to talk about. But yeah, so the point is, you want to get to a point in your life where you can make decisions. Like, the one thing that's always been big for me is I bought a flat in London, an apartment, and I live there by myself. One thing that was always big for me is I was never, if I was ever in a relationship, going to buy an apartment or a flat with another woman. Because I didn't want to be like, okay, I am only doing this because of her, and then, breakups are inevitable. Like, I'm currently single, which shows that 0% of my relationships have lasted forever. So, that's all the clue you need. I just never wanted to be in a position where I felt like, oh, I'm only here now because of the relationship or something like that, or whatever it is. So I think the key is you need to build freedom into your life, and that means you need to take it seriously. So when it comes to women, so what I wanted to do, I remember very early on saying is I want to have the skills to sleep with any woman when I want. Well, I don't have the skills to sleep with any woman I want, but I do have the skills to go out, meet a girl in a club or a bar, or get either sleep on that night or get a very strong lead and get a date. I do. That's great. What more do you want? That is like a pretty good standard. So, like, it's not something I worry about anymore. Like, I know I can just go, ugh, just text all the bodies, like, let's go out tonight, we're hitting the town, let's do it, and it'll be fine. Like, great example the other day, actually, like, I had one of my stories. I was at some drinks after work in a pub. Those drinks are flowing, and this is just like, this is an example of like a night that I wouldn't say like a typical night, but just a night that you can have if you live your life in a certain way. So what did I do? Yeah, so I was in the bathroom, and I came out, and there was a woman there, and she looked at me, she goes, oh. And, you know, some guys would probably excuse themselves or something like that, but me being a little cheeky chappy like I am, was like, hold on, you're actually quite good looking now. What's the situation? What's the deal? What's this all about? Because, like, she visibly sort of reacted to my presence. I don't think I'd even scared her. She just kind of went, oh. As in, she had a few drinks and thought, you know, I like the look of this. So, ended up chatting for a couple of minutes, literally by the toilet. So my mates were coming in. Big IOI there for the old pick-up guys is that, you know, friends were walking past and she wasn't leaving. She was kept engaged in the conversation. So I actually really pushed the envelope right then. The envelope. I actually tried to kiss her right then outside the toilet. She wasn't having it. So what I did next was took a number, and then we went out and we met up. Anyway, rest that night I went out to meet a couple of my buddies. So a couple of buddies came in from, I think it was Canada, and they were like staying in London for a bit. So like, alright, I'll meet you two at pub in Soho. Cool. They're like, yeah, just drop me an address. And then they were being late for some reason from wherever they were coming from. So I arrived early. So I was like, oh crap, what am I gonna do? Like, I think like most guys, when most guys turn up early at a place, well, you know, they just grab a beer, slink up against the wall, post up, and then just watch the world go by. Me, bit different, made a different stuff. So I went in, you know, walked around, said, you know, see a good looking guy, blah, 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 see what's going on. Chatted to one girl, she wasn't really having it. So I was like, alright, fine, whatever. Then saw another girl at the bar, cute blonde girl, wearing like some quite like big Doc Martens. I was like, okay, interesting, which is quite petite. I was like, alright, let me go chat to you. Chatting to her a few minutes, she was asking Tina, and I was like, oh, okay, cool. And then, like, I could really feel the vibe and energy, and I was like, okay. I was just like, do you want to get out of here? And she looked at me for a second and goes, yeah, okay, then let's go. So that was within, I think, probably 15-20 minutes of me walking into this bar. I had, quote-unquote, pulled, so I went and grabbed my coat. Actually, grab your coat, darling, you've pulled. And we walked out over there. So we walked out. Her hotel was actually really close to the place, and she didn't tell me where it was. And we were walking, and she was just like, she told me this afterwards. She goes, I want to get to know you a bit better, so I led you around the houses. And I was like, yeah, I realised, because like the walk from where the bar we were at to the hotel, realistically, it was about 5 or 7 minutes. But we walked for a good, like, maybe more like 10-15 minutes. So she done whatever. So this girl was in town for a day. Well, she literally was kind of in town for a day, and then she came back again. So we met up again after. But yeah. And then after, like, once we went to a hotel that first night, we did whatever. And then I finished and I met my buddies. And they were like, not doing accent, like, where were you? And I was like, well, you'll never guess what happened to me. And you know, that was just like a Wednesday or a Thursday night or something. Just nothing crazy. Just that's what happens when you build skills over time. You can pick up on these moments and learn how to take advantage of them. Got another story I'll pull out in a minute. So yeah, one of the things that really think's important is when it comes to, especially comes to dating, you need to date women who are quote unquote compliant. What I mean by that is you don't want to be dating people who are giving you a lot of drama and making you feel like crap, basically. So what you don't want to be doing is, if you feel like you're in a relationship and you're not in control, you're not holding the frame, you need to just, well, in these situations, like, I hate to be like, oh, you need to drop her, man. Like, but you kind of need to drop it. Like, it's really hard to, like, seize frame back once a woman has pigeonholed you as a certain type of person. Like, you know, you're that kind of guy. Unless you leave for, like, 2 years and come back and make a really big, strong first impression, you're always forever going to be in that frame that she first encountered you in. That's this level you're at. And sometimes even if you come out for years, people like that. Like, I've had that people met from when I was younger, and they come back and they're like, you know, still trying to treat me like like I was back then. I'm like, no, young me would be probably a bit more accepting of this behavior, but come on. I don't think it's time for that anymore. Come on, let's move on. Yeah, so that's what we talk about. So you want compliance, you want choice, or abundance. So you just want the point where, like, you know, you can be sleeping with as many women as you want to be sleeping with. Right now, like, I'm at a pretty good point in my life where, like, I think 4 as like an average monthly rotation is good. Like, that's kind of what I want to be. I don't really want to be like looking for too much else, because it's like, you know, you end up having a lot of you know, it's cold outside. I don't want to be going out on a lot of days, even though we're on 2 first days this week, which just happened to be like an anomaly. But yeah, at the moment, not really something I'm looking for. So other examples of, like, abundance, like, when you have abundance, women treat you, like, differently. They, you know, like, you get away with stuff. Like, I think if you look at, like, guys like Rollo Tomassi, like, if you follow that guy, he says, like, women make rules for betas, break rules for alphas, or something like that. So I remember back when I was at university, like, I remember sleeping with pretty much would have been, you would call like a few friends, like a friendship group, like all of them. It was weird. Like, I think there was just counting, like, I think overall 4, and they were all talking about it, like, and like, oh yeah, it was like this and that, blah, blah, blah. I was like, wow, like, girls really just talk about that kind of thing. This is the modern world we're in. So, you know, but, you know, if you're not that kind of guy, you know, they're going to be like, well, maybe I'll sleep with you, but there's rules and conditions attached to it. 1, you're not sleeping with anyone else. 2, like, you're definitely not sleeping with my friends. And 3, you know, I'll need to pick me up from the station when I go out. I'll pick me up from when I go out every Friday night. And just kind of make it, again, pigeonhole in that box. Don't allow it. So, yeah, so I think the key is, guys, over the next, well, I would say 12 to 18 months, you need to start learning and getting your skills up. Like I have, you know, actually a story from the other day, pretty recently. I was in another country for work, actually, so I was working abroad, and it was a Monday night. I wasn't looking for anything. It was just like, oh, by the way, this is a great example of, like, why you need to have your skills up, why you need to be, like, constantly just, why you need to be quote unquote natural. So yeah, I was in a store. I was picking up some stuff. I was just walking around, taking my time, you know, just being a bit of an idiot, walking around, looking at this. So I remember I picked up 2 things in the end, but I was in the store for about a good 10 minutes, just walking around, having a look. Foreign country. I was in Amsterdam, and because it's quite prevalent to the story. So I was walking around, this store in Amsterdam. I was like, let me just have a look at what the Dutch do. So this is what I got here. This is different from London. This is different. Okay, whatever. And then I got to the queue, and I was like, no automated tills, crap. I've got to talk to the teller kind of thing. And when they in foreign countries, like I was literally just arrived. I don't know any Dutch. Dutch is similar to English, but different enough where like, I mean they'll speak English, but it's just a bit awkward. So I prefer to go to like a automatic checkout, which we love in the UK, and they do not love abroad. So there was a woman in front of me. She had like a lot of bags, and she was in the queue. She leaves the queue. I go and I put down my two things. I think I bought like a drink and a bit of gum or something. Literally, what I was doing in the shop for 10 minutes, obviously bored. Because it was a Monday, so what was I going to do? Go sitting around for a beer for ages by myself. I thought, no, let's not do that. This is Monday night, I'm not going to be doing anything, so let's just chill. Enjoy the town and just go and have a look at it. So then, so this woman was walking out, and the bottom splits out of a paper bag. And I was like, oh, oops, shit. So when everyone sort of turns around and looks at each other for a second, like, no one moved. I was like, and I've just literally finished paying up on my cards. So I just thought, right, let me go and help her. So I go up to her and I say, oh, it's okay. So I'm helping her put her stuff in her bag, or, just sort of recover it. And then, that bag's done. So I grabbed another like plastic bag. I was putting that stuff in there, and I was asking the other teller, like, oh, how much is it? He goes, oh, this bag is 30 cents. I'm like, cool, whatever, like, we'll pay for it. So I'm helping her put all that stuff in the bag. She's got a lot of stuff. And then, she sort of looks at me, and she's like, oh, I'm like, oh, you're kind of cute. She's like, she was just like, frazzled. I didn't say you're kind of cute in my head, I said that. She was frazzled, and I was like, all right, fine, let's calm her down. So I pick up some of my bags, walk outside, got all plastic bags in the end. And I said to her, are you right? She goes, yeah. I was like, fine. I said, where's your car? I'll walk you to your car. And she goes, oh, I don't have a car. I just live around the corner. I was like, well, do you want a hand carrying your stuff? She looked at me, there's a moment where she looks at me, she goes, yeah, okay. All right, let's go. So we're walking, just shooting the shit, and then at this moment I was like, bloody hell, I was talking about this woman, talking to this woman about her life, blah 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 blah. It's so weird, like, unless you're the kind of person who like regularly puts themselves out there and talks to strangers, we don't have these kind of experiences. And I'm not naturally that kind of person. I think actually that day I had a very, very bad day, and that's the reason why I really was quite encouraged to help her out. I remember some crappy things that happened. I can't remember what it was, but I remember being like, I had a bad day, so I thought, right, let me give this woman a hand. So then so we're walking, getting to know each other. She goes, this is literally like my first day in Amsterdam. I'm like, oh, okay, what are you doing here? She goes, oh, just working. I was like, what do you do? She goes, oh, I've just got back from another place. I'm not going to say where she was, because it might make it a bit easier to find her online. And she goes, oh, okay, blah, 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 I'm from this country, but, I was here, and now I'm just, in Amsterdam. I was like, oh, okay. She goes, I was like, what do you do for work? She goes, oh, I'm a dancer. And I said, oh, interesting. Where do you dance? She goes, oh, just over here. And, we're walking. I wasn't really paying attention where we're going, because I don't really know the city. But I noticed we walked towards, like, the red light district. I was like, hold on, what's going on here? Like, this sounds a little bit dodgy. So I was like, okay, let's see what happens. So we get there, and she's like getting to like where her place is towards it, and she's sort of, she doesn't know which way it is. She goes, oh, might be here. And I was like, am I getting the vibe here like she wants me to leave because she doesn't want me to see where she lives? I was like, and I was like, okay, all right. No, that's not the vibe. And she said, no, let's take me here. I was like, okay. So we get to this door. If you've ever been to Amsterdam, they have uh, um, like women at the doors, like well, the prostitutes, but like she wasn't a prostitute, but she was a stripper. she worked. She was working at a strip club, and she was just like, yeah, like I've come here as like a dancer. And I was like, okay, interesting. And then get to her door, and she goes, oh, like I'd like to take you out for a drink later. Thank you. Like, let me give you my number. And I was like, it's Monday. And I'm like, why not? It's YOLO. What's the worst thing that's gonna happen? You're gonna have a great story to tell from Amsterdam. So, yeah, we took her number, messaged her, and then all good. And then we met up a few hours later. We went for a drink. And then we had a bit of a crazy Monday. We took shots, had a few cocktails, went to quite a few all these nice little places, because she'd asked like a few of her friends where to go, so we went there, and then the night ended at my hotel. So that was pretty crazy. And then I just got a cab back from my hotel to our place, and I was like, wow. So this was my Monday in Amsterdam, and I think if I hadn't spent my formative years putting in the work, putting in the effort, I probably wouldn't have, had been able to take advantage of such an experience. I would have been kind of like a little bit paranoid. What do I do? Like, what are the next steps? But this is why I say it's important to build a structure or a roadmap, because I didn't really have to think about what to do next, because I just naturally came to me like, all right, so I've got here, like this, that, and the other. And also just vibes in general, like, what's the vibe at the moment? All right, let's go here. All right, when's the right time to quote unquote like get out of here, get back to the hotel? How to do whatever. So this is why it's really important to learn it, because it's fun experiences like that. So but underneath that experience, which I can champion and trophy, there are moments where I turn around and go, that was really horrible. I remember one particular moment where I was in a bed, in not my own bed. I was alone, so with a girl, and I remember next door was this guy having sex with this girl, and I was just listening to it, and I was just lying there in that bed, and I was like, what am I even doing here? Like, I was at someone's house, and I was like, this is what happens if what can happen to you anyway, but not putting enough work, blah blah blah. I remember just thinking, I'd never want to be in a situation again. Never. And it's not like I never will be in that situation again. It's possible, but it's not happening anytime soon, thankfully. So, yeah. So, I've just turned up the gain a little bit, so hopefully it doesn't sound weird on the mic. Anyway, yeah, so there's moments where I've had multiple moments where I've just been sitting there like, what the hell is happening? Like, I have no idea what's going on. Like, I feel terrible. Like, this is never gonna work out. I'm never gonna have abundance. I'm never gonna have consistent. Well, okay, I say consistency doesn't exist totally, but consistent positive experiences. Well, you know what? Now I'm at a point where I'm like, that's not true. I've kind of done it, like, in a way, like, I've kind of, proved it to myself, because I've never was really trying to prove it to anyone else, but I've definitely kind of proved it to myself that I don't need to worry about anything, really. Like, it's all good. And I can have a lot of fun, I can go anywhere, I can meet anyone, and, you just have these stories. So, like, I've got some crazy stories, obviously. I mean, those two stories I told just now were both, from the last sort of couple of months. So that's, that's what I'm trying to get at. I've had other, yeah. I'll tell some other stories on this podcast over the years, but let's spread out. But yeah. Also, I want to say, like, when it comes to the bad stuff, no matter how good you get, no matter how things are amazing, there's just a few things you can't really prevent. And that's one, if people want to act shitty and treat you like shit, it's gonna happen. What changes is your reaction to it. So I know me, like if someone's being crappy towards me, they're just gone. Like, they're just poofed out of my world, and I don't speak to you. Like, it's not even like usually like it's not a big grand like, oh, I'm never talking to you again. It's just like quite a natural, just slow, like, oh, you're done. Okay, you had your chance and you are now finished. So unlucky about that. And especially with women, you gotta just be like, bad behavior, like, so again, say with anyone, like once the behavior is bad, just gotta leave it. And then going back to what I was harping about last episode, my number one core principle is just the truth. Like, when you're with women, you've got to live in the truth. If you live in the truth, you have reality. You have your answer. Basically, what happens is a lot of guys end up in bars or situations with women where like they stick around for too long. Like, one thing my friends always say is like, you just sort of, how quickly you drop it. I'm like, well, yeah, because from years of experience, it's told me this is literally going nowhere. Like, even if she's been like really like friendly and just been like, oh, you have a friendly chat, like, we're not going to be any more than a friendly chat. So then I just make a decision, like, do I want to have this friendly chat or not have a friendly chat? I can just have a friendly chat sometimes, that's fine. But if that's all it's going to be, then you deserve to know that's all it's going to be. And she's not going to tell you. You got to work that out. So that's kind of what you're looking for. So this is where you start building a framework. This is where you start building in quote-unquote PUA pickup-y stuff, where it's like qualification. What is qualification? So qualification is just like it's one of the things I still think about, like, who's qualifying. So qualifying is who's trying to prove something to who. So it's in any situation. Let's say you have let me think. Sorry. So yeah, you're in a bar and someone's asking questions. So like, what do you do for work? And then you try and explain your job and you're trying to make it sound cool. You're qualifying yourself. You're trying to make yourself sound good. That's qualifying. That's what it is. What you want to be doing is getting her to qualify herself. So you got to frame your questions in such a way, like, I think old mystery method was like, I know it was a guy called John Sin, actually. John Sin, Sins of Attraction. One of the few people that I listened to and kind of took on his stuff because he seemed quite genuine. I think his number one qualification question was always like, are you adventurous? Like, it's such a good one. Like, if a girl's interested in you, ask her if she's adventurous, and she'll spew out a bunch of stuff about how adventurous she is, and why, like, being with her is so fun. But like, if she's not interested, like, she'll be like, maybe. And that's your answer. Not qualifying yourself, not that interested. So you need to come back to be like, okay, so can I spike some attraction? Maybe up the banter, stuff like that. That's what it's about. That's what playing the game's about. So it's not like, she's not trying to do it. On to the next one. You gotta do it slowly. Some girls just take a while to warm up. They do, and they don't even realize. So like that, from that strip bar in Amsterdam, she actually said afterwards, she was like, oh yeah, like, I didn't even realize you were cute until halfway home. I was like, wow, what, really? That's insane. And she was like, yeah. And I was like, oh. And she was like, So that's why sometimes you just gotta stick around for a bit, let the engine warm up a little bit and then go for it. Always make sure you're doing the right thing at the right time. So sometimes that's staying in the game, and sometimes that's letting it go. And history and experience should tell you when. I'm sure I've lost chances as well, where I've just gone, this is not worth my time. Or one thing I don't waste time on is 20-minute sets to nowhere. That's what Johnson used to call it. Wow, yeah. It's 20-minute sets to nowhere. We sat around talking about someone for 20 minutes, and then she goes, oh, that girl was pleasant. My boyfriend's over there. So that's why you want to be qualifying early. That's why you want to be like, especially if you're in a bar, great tip, just walk her to another side of the bar. If she's not going to move with you, she's not attracted to you. And then other thing is, like, if you're moving to her outside of that bar, hold her hand. If you can hold her hand, you can probably kiss her. Sometimes you don't want to be kissing girls in public. Definitely not. Some girls just don't like the PDA, and you want to be more secret society, so to speak. So you can just hold her hand. That mutual hand holding is just as powerful as a kiss in public. Like, you know, she'll feel that energy. She'll feel the sexual energy. So just make sure you're, you know, socially attuned enough to realize that, like, you don't want to be those two sloppy people making out at the bar. Yeah, you can have a little kiss maybe, but you don't spend all night making out with her. It's crass, frankly, and it's kind of what you do at the beginning when you go, oh my god, this works, great, yeah. Like, I think most of the girls that I do sleep with, I usually, before we've come back to my place, I maybe kiss them once or twice, if that. So at the point where, like, we're sitting on my sofa, it's still, like, a little bit, not weird, but, like, it's like, it's not something we've done a lot. So, like, oh my god, do you know what I mean? So that's what you want. You want her to be thinking, oh, what is this? Rather than a sloppy make-out session before, and like, get in a cab. No. Women generally tend not to like that. Anyway, yeah, so, yeah, I don't think we had much today. We're coming up 46 minutes. Obviously, I'll give you a few little tips at the end of what you can be doing, moving people, going to bars, asking qualifying questions, stuff like that, getting her to see if she's proving herself. But we can go into more details on this kind of stuff later. What I will say is that when you are out on dates or whatever, just make sure you're putting your best foot forward, because you'd be surprised how many guys turn up just sloppy and just the worst chat in the world. And I like to talk to girls, especially like if I'm on a date with a girl I'm not feeling it, I'll start asking her questions like, oh, tell me about your dating stories, how bad the guys have been, because I realize, like, even if I'm not like gonna hook up with someone like that, you can still have fun. It's a good time. So yeah. There is a hell of a world out there. Just kind of as a closing remark, and people out there like me having these kind of experiences. 56 women in a year. Like, I'm sure there's guys out there who will be like, well, I slept with 70 or 100 and whatever, and it's like, good for you. Like, live your truth, live your best life. I mean, I don't think I'd ever hit that kind of number again. And funny enough, actually, I was thinking afterwards, I was like, 56. I was like, oh my god, I took like the end of October to January off, so that's like a good, I think I took like 2.5 months off. So I was like, if I was working out the average, I could have been up there in like the feeling like 60, 70 easily, 70, just working on averages. And it's kind of like that this year, actually. I've taken from the end of October I took to January off last year, and I think this year or coming into next year I'll probably be off, so to speak, as in not going out really pursuing any kind of adventure until probably around March next year. I've got a few big trips planned next year, some holidays which I'm really looking forward to. So and at the moment I'm really focusing on things like getting back in the gym, like getting additional sources of income, just things like that. They're my priorities, so that's why I'm having a really great time just dating the few girls that I am, and they come over, we have popcorn, watch movies, and then fuck, and then and then see you later kind of thing. But in terms of just I'll do another episode one day on how to manage your rotation of women, especially early days, and creating expectations, because actually I had a girl the other day. We've been seeing each other since August, and she kind of had a bit of a hissy fit in a bar, and not stormed out, but we let's leave, and she left 20 minutes in front of me. I had to come back to mine, a little chat with her about it. Come on, calm down, and then since then she's been as good as gold. So come on. Anyway, So, guys, and if there are any questions about my lifestyle, like, also I want to clarify a lot. Actually, I didn't. One thing I didn't clarify about the 56 is I travel a lot, so a lot of this is like when I'm on the road. It's not when I'm in London. Like I don't. When I'm at home, I don't really have time to be doing this. I have other stuff to be doing. I've hit like 50. That's on average one new girl a week, which like, I don't really think that's not really a lot. Like if you're heavily on the apps and you're a good looking guy and you can go into a bar and you can pull one a week's not a lot. Like I know there's definitely like guys out there, celebrities who've got numbers in the thousands overall, and that's that. Was that kind of level? Probably it's pretty more than that. But then that becomes that lifestyle. So, all right, I will stop here, and guys, all the best.